Technical analysis has never made anyone anything. You're not going to get rich from trading by learning technical analysis. In short, your problem is not that you don't know enough about technical analysis. Will you trust me on this? That you don't need any more technical analysis. You need a serious review of how you think when you're trading. Everyone's a chart expert. Everyone knows charts. People love to find the low in a bear trend. People love to find the top in a bull trend. People think every reaction in a trend is the beginning of a new trend. I would be sitting there night after night watching the market fall or rise, and our client, sure as hell, the moment the market just ticked in the other direction by a little bit, they would pile on as if the trend had now changed. So my argument here is that people are generally fearful when they're hopeful, and they're hopeful when they're fearful. I am letting my losses run. Why am I doing that? What am I telling myself? Well, I'm telling myself that I hope that this market is going to turn around. But the real reason is I would like to avoid pain. We have a brain which is millions of years old, and it has one primary function, and that is to keep you alive at all costs. And by the way, also love to make sure that you never experience any pain. Some people, in particular psychologists, refer to this as the ego. Wants to make sure that you maintain your ego preservation, your state of mind where everything is rosy and good. So you'll do anything to avoid pain. Not you, but this thing up here. And it doesn't matter what scenario I throw at you. I'm letting my loss run because the indicator says so or the Fibonacci says so, but actually you want to avoid pain. I'm taking my profits because, hey, you can't go broke from taking a profit. Still, it's still you avoiding pain. Why? Well, because you hate the idea that the market is going to take back some of your profits. I am winning, so I'm reducing my stake size. Why would you do that? Well, because I want to take it easy now. Nope. You want to avoid pain. You can't bear the fact that you made £400 for the day, and God forbid that those £400 would disappear. Imagine that you made £1,000 on the day versus you lost £1,000 on the day. Who is most likely to carry on trading? The person that have made £1,000 or the person that have lost £1,000? The person who has lost £1,000 is far more likely to carry on trading because God forbid that he carries on that pain into the night, and he will do anything to get rid of that pain. But when he's made £1,000, he'll do anything to protect that because it feels so good to have made £1,000. So I don't want to jinx it. People are fearful when they're hopeful, and they are hopeful when they should be fearful. What do I mean by that? Imagine that you are sat in a position that is making you the aforementioned £1,000. You're no longer hoping that that £1,000 is going to turn into £2,000 or £3,000. Now, you're fearful that £1,000 is going to be taken from you. And if you are losing £1,000, you're most likely going to sit there and thinking, wouldn't it be great if this position turned around? You're not fearful that that position is going to get even worse. You're hopeful that it's going to turn around. And if you want to have a fighting chance of making the markets your ATM machine, and this is not a sales pitch, it's a bit of a cliche, I admit that, but if you want to have a fighting chance of making the markets the place where you take money out on a fairly regular basis, you need to turn this around. The time you know you become a good trader is that day you're able to win by holding on to a winning position. And rather than taking half profits, you're adding to your winning position. Rather than beginning to think, where should I get out? You're beginning to think, how can I get deeper in? How can I commit more? There are many people in here, in the pit, that have traded for a long time, who have never added to a winning position. Have any of you ever added to a losing trade? Sure we have. Oh, of course we've added. You bought at 20 and then it goes down to 10. You're thinking, it looked good at 20. It looks even better at 10. But how many of us have bought at 20 and then bought more at 30 and bought more at 40 and bought more at 50? Now the raised hands are becoming few and far between. Sure, there will be people who have done it, and good on you. But it's very difficult emotionally to add to a winning trade. It's a lot easier to add to a losing trade because, hey, you feel like you're getting a bargain. You feel like you're buying something which is cheap. And hey, when we started learning about trading, what were we told? We were told, buy low and sell high. Quite possibly the most expensive piece of advice ever dished out in the history of mankind. Because every single time I bought low, it always went lower. And every single time I tried to short high, it always seemed to know that I was in and it would go even higher. No, I prefer to buy high and sell even higher. And I sure do like to sell short low and cover even lower. It's in our human nature to want to cut our winnings. You bought at 6 and you can get out of 7. Get me out! I'll take that profit. That's just human nature. That's who we are. If you want to be really good at this, you need to accept that everything you do when you're profitable hurts. It feels uncomfortable. If you're in a position and it doesn't feel uncomfortable, you're probably not betting big enough. I want to repeat that. When you're a good trader, everything you do hurts. And I'm not talking about a smack in the hand kind of hurts or a smack in the bottom kind of hurt. If it doesn't feel uncomfortable, you're probably not pressing the position big enough. What do most people do when they are in a winning position? Now, I know the answer because I sat and watched this for 10 years. When you're in a winning position, what do? I mean, humor me here. Take half profit, nip a little bit more, move the stop loss down so it is almost meaningless to have a stop loss because you're going to be stopped out by the slightest move in the other direction. People are great at taking half profits. They're just not great at taking half losses. We love to take a bit of a profit home because it feels good. It feels like we're doing the right thing. Why on earth would I risk losing some of my open profits? You can't go broke taking a profit. That's what the books are telling me. Are you prepared to do what the 90% are not doing? And of course the answer is, yeah, of course I'm prepared to do that. I'll do anything for profit. But actually you don't really fully understand what is required. That we don't really see things as they are. We see things as we are. What I call the deception chart is that our eyes will seek out that which confirms the facts that we are seeking to establish or to prove. It gives us a bias of looking for things that we want to achieve, rather than looking at things objectively. So, many things I believe of charts, but many things I don't believe. And I call this ignorance. Now, intelligent people can be ignorant until they have been informed otherwise. So there are things that I don't believe in. I don't believe in soulmates. I don't believe in horoscopes. I certainly don't believe that the earth is flat. And I most certainly categorically do not believe there is such a thing as the perfect system, the perfect indicator, the perfect chart pattern. It simply does not exist. So I think it's time that we embrace trading for what it really is. Truly profitable traders. They have a philosophy that is very different to the 70, 80, 90% of traders. But I would like to take some comfort in me doing the right thing by quoting one of the best traders ever, Richard Dennis, a famed commodity trader who were the founder of the trading group called the Turtle Traders. And he said, and I quote, "We could post our trading rules on the front page of the Wall Street Journal and still people would not be able to make money from them." I want to hold up a mirror, ladies and gentlemen. I want to show you who you really are. Not being personal, but based on the experiences of a guy who spent every single day from 7 a.m. until 9 p.m. watching you trade. Maybe not you personally, but you as a whole. 12, 14 hours every single trading day for a decade, watching your mistakes, watching you sitting there, hoping, praying that your position is going to turn around, moving your stop loss further away so you don't get stopped out, cutting your profits so soon because, hey, who can go broke taking a profit? Yeah, you did. You managed to go broke over and over because you're always snapping at the profit because you didn't understand fear. You didn't understand what was going on in your minds. And I'm not belittling you, and now I am not talking down to you. I am genuinely trying to make you see trading from a very different perspective than you perhaps have addressed it from before. True profitable trading starts with an awareness of where you keep going wrong. Here's another piece of advice for you. You know that the vast majority of people, when they make money, they'll have a tendency to reduce their trading size because they want to avoid the pain of losing some of their gains. And I swear to God, 99% of the trading population just doesn't get it. When I win, I don't bet less. I bet more. The more I win, the higher I bet. See, you can think of this in two ways. You can say, well, I like to think like the 10%, or you can turn it on its head and say, I'd like to not think like the 90%. And so you almost can do a self-analysis and say, well, how is it that I tend to think? And it doesn't matter whether you trade currencies or commodities. It doesn't matter whether you're a scalper, an intraday trader, or an investor. If I'm in a winning position, I don't sit and congratulate myself. No, I want to get that position bigger and bigger. So when I am in a winning position, I don't think like the 90%. I don't sit there and think, when should I get out? When should I get out? Did you see that? The market just turned down a little bit. I better get out now. No, I keep thinking, how the hell can I press this position so I can make even more? Now, I say it and you think, yeah, it's that Dane who's coming over here, he blah, 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 blah. He's giving it the old lippy. But when one of the best traders in the world says it, perhaps then it has a little bit of validity. Maybe then you'll sit up and pay attention, because these are not my words. These are the words of one of the all-time legends of trading. He says, a little bit less technical analysis and a little bit more introspection in what the hell is going on in your mind. And it doesn't matter, as I said before, whether you're trading a 5-minute chart or if you are an investor. If you have bought onto a stock which is a runner, why contemplate where you're going to get out? Why not add a little bit to the position? Why not make the position a little bit bigger? Why? Because you're afraid then that what the market has given you is going to take away? Well, hasn't that happened to all of us? You see, adding to winning positions is one of the best antidotes to what the 90% are consistently doing. The 90% love to add to their losing trades. Why? Well, hey, if it was a good purchase at 50, then it's got to be even better purchase at 40, isn't it? Because, hey, we all love a good bargain. We prefer things where we feel we are getting a bargain. But what's perverse about the industry that we are trying to make a living in is that it makes more sense to buy something today because today it's more expensive than it was yesterday. That's called a trend. The financial markets is not a supermarket. It doesn't work like that. If it's cheap in a supermarket, by all means, you got my blessing to load up if you want. But please don't load up because something in the financial markets is cheaper today than it was yesterday. Because it's just not the way that it works. The hardest thing in the world is to sit on your hands and just let the market do what the market does. That's why trading is difficult. It's not difficult to understand Fibonacci and stochastics and all these things. No. Fighting our natural urges is what makes trading difficult. It's not the size, the number of digits that you are trading. It's about trading the right way. And ladies and gentlemen, do you now understand why this has got nothing to do with technical analysis? Yesterday's trade has got nothing to do with today's trade. You've never done it, of course, but other people, lesser mortals, they've been in a position where they closed the position purely because it would reset the account. You have a £10,000 account and you lost £2,000, and now you're plus £2,000. just going to take their profit because now I'm back to break even. My argument is that all of those people that lose, they are really good at chart analysis. And they don't lose because they're not good at chart analysis. It's because there's so much more to trading than a head and shoulder pattern. Now, I hear of people who will stop trading because they've had 3 losing trades in a row or 5 losing trades in a row. I never entertain that thought. Because then what you're really saying is that the trades are interconnected. That somehow those 3 trades are connected and that will have an influence on the 4th. Sure, if I have a throbbing migraine, then that's a good argument for stopping trading. Or if there's a gas leak in the environment and you can smell gas and that's the reason why you have 3 losing trades, by all means stop trading. But otherwise, if you're following your strategy and you're doing everything right, why on earth would you stop trading? It's a mental mindset thing. So I live and die by, I must control my mind. Otherwise, I can't control my future.